Welcome to Penn Jen's Inkwell podcast. My name is Jen Waters. I hope you enjoy my stories. The Christmas tree that lives forever was inspired by the fact that my father planted the first Christmas tree that he bought at the house in Hershey in the front yard. Over the years, it grew so large and tall that it blocked the house's front bay windows. And its roots went so deep that it disrupted my parents' well water. Unlike everyone else in the Hershey area, we didn't have Hershey city water. Instead, we had beloved well water. Every year, I wanted to decorate the whole front of the house in lights. But my dad, who loved Scrooge and A Christmas Carol, would complain about the electric bill. My parents and I actually saw A Christmas Carol at Ford's Theater one year when I worked in D.C. Despite my dad's Scroogey ways, I turned on the Christmas lights in the front of the house anyhow. One year, I made a garland on the front porch from the holly bush next to the front door and the evergreen trees in the yard. I remember I had Christmas music playing from my cassette player, and I had strung garland all the way across the front porch. Eventually, my dad had to cut down his infamous Christmas tree because it was destroying the well. It was a beautiful tree, but just grew so large. However, my dad loved to collect Santa Clauses of every shape, size, and color, and he kept them up in the living room shelf all year long. We usually got our annual Christmas tree from cutting it down at a local Harrisburg Christmas tree lot. My mom had boxes and boxes of decorations saved year after year. Some of the decorations we had actually made as kids. After Christmas, my dad would try to burn parts of the Christmas tree in the wood stove. We had 2 wood stoves, but ironically, most of my friends didn't have a wood stove. They had a furnace. We had a furnace too, but my dad tried to save money on the electric bill by using the wood stoves. After my mom almost caught her hair on fire at the upstairs wood stove, my dad removed the upstairs wood stove, but to this day, the downstairs wood stove still exists. Year after year, my dad would have truckloads of lumber delivered in the front driveway to burn in the wood stove, and my brother and I would have to put on gloves and carry the lumber to the backyard and stack it. Since I had allergies, eventually we ended up getting a fake Christmas tree, which, of course, my dad always wanted to take down the day after Christmas, whereas I would have had it stay up until Valentine's Day. With a fake Christmas tree, he couldn't burn it in the wood stove, so there you go. Also, every now and then, my dad would be known to drink a little bit too much eggnog, among other things, and believe it or not, my dad also did re-gift a singing reindeer head several years in a row. This fiction story is almost as factual as they come. It scored to A Christmas Tree, and it would make a great film like A Christmas Story with the leg lamp in the window. So here is the Christmas tree that lives forever. Early Christmas Eve morning, 12-year-old Annabelle Cunningham sprang from bed and ran into the living room. "Dad, it's time to get a Christmas tree," she said at the top of her lungs, hanging her stocking by the fireplace. Her mother had been in the kitchen baking all morning and would be there all day.
"I don't want to spend the money. We don't need a Christmas tree,"
her father said, drinking eggnog in his armchair.
"Christmas is only one day. I already arranged my Santa Clauses on the living room shelf. That's enough decorating."
Her father's obsession with Santa has started years ago, and he owned every Santa in the county. He had short and tall Santas with big tummies, small tummies, red coats, green coats, sacks, and sleighs. "Yes, we will get a Christmas tree and decorate it, whether you want to or not," Annabelle said.
Fine, but the Christmas tree is coming down the day after Christmas, lights and all,"
her father said. "Try to remember that your father never had Christmas growing up," Annabelle's mother whispered to her. "He doesn't know how to celebrate it. Now just go get a Christmas tree and try to be kind to him." Annabelle threw on her winter jacket, wool hat, and boots, and headed to her father's green pickup truck. As she waited for her father in the front seat, she admired her mother's red and green holly bushes. Earlier in the week, Annabelle had hung a wreath on the front door and strung garland on the porch. Her father meandered to the truck with his brown jacket, slammed the door shut, and started the engine.
The truck probably won't make it to the Christmas tree farm,
her father said, pulling out the driveway.
The roads are slippery. I spent all morning shoveling snow from the driveway, and you never know when you'll hit ice.
Annabelle hummed "Oh Christmas Tree" to herself on the car ride, ignoring her father's humbug. "That's my tree," Annabelle said, jumping from the truck as her father pulled up to the Christmas tree farm. She pointed to the largest Christmas tree in the lot and ran to its side in knee-high snow.
"How did I let you talk me into this?"
her father said, shaking his head as he got out of the truck. He swung an axe over his shoulder and kicked the snow with his feet as he walked toward Annabelle.
"Timber!"
her father yelled as he swung at the base of the tall, plump evergreen tree. "Let me help you with that," said the manager of the Christmas tree farm. He wore heavy work gloves. As the tree fell on its side, he grabbed the trunk and pulled it all the way to the pickup truck on a sled.
"I can't believe you made me cut down a Christmas tree,"
Annabelle's father said, handing the manager a wad of cash. The manager threw the Christmas tree in the back of the pickup truck and tied it down with ropes. Scrooge was visited by 3 ghosts because he was so stingy, she said to her dad, climbing in the front seat. Annabelle hummed "Oh Christmas Tree" all the way back to her house, remembering Dickens' A Christmas Carol. When Mr. Cunningham stopped in the driveway, Annabelle swung open her door and ran to the evergreen.
"I'm going out back to chop wood for the wood stove. 2 days from now, I'll be chopping your tree,"
her father said. "This will be the Christmas tree that lives forever," Annabelle called to him, climbing on the back of the truck. "My beautiful evergreen Christmas tree is not going to burn in your stupid wood stove in the basement," she said. "Oh, let me help you with that, honey," Annabelle's mother said, walking out the front door with her gardening gloves. Annabelle and her mom pulled the tree into the living room and propped it up on its side until they attached a tree stand. Then Annabelle watered the tree stand and carefully arranged the red tree skirt at the base of the evergreen. As she strung caramel popcorn and cranberries through a needle, she watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on TV. "Sam the Snowman Saves Christmas," she said, singing along to a holly jolly Christmas in silver and gold. "I feel like I'm saving Christmas," Annabelle said, eating a few more popcorn than she strung on the string. By dinner time, Annabelle had perfected her Christmas tree with every type of decoration imaginable. She hung toy soldiers, Christmas balls, snowflakes, tinsel, angels, white and colored lights, and a star on top. The Christmas tree stood proud and tall all Christmas Eve day and Christmas Day without losing a limb. It hovered over presents as they were wrapped and unwrapped and rewrapped to give away to someone else. Of course, Annabelle would never give a Christmas gift away, but Mr. Cunningham was another story. Since he was too stingy to buy Christmas gifts in the first place, he rewrapped presents given to him to give away. One year, Mr. Cunningham rewrapped the gift that Annabelle gave him to give back to her, a singing reindeer head. She felt sad that her dad didn't keep the gift and hid it under her bed for the annual holiday season. Since the singing reindeer head could be programmed to say anything, Annabelle had it greet her neighborhood friends. Similar to the Christmas tree, her father thought the reindeer made too much noise and frequently took out its battery.
"I'm throwing the Christmas tree in the wood stove first thing tomorrow morning,"
her father said, turning off its lights. "You are not burning my Christmas tree to a pulp," Annabelle said, throwing up her hands. Then her father moaned, grabbed his axe, and went in the backyard to chop wood until his hands bled. Her mother went into the kitchen to bake another pie or cake or cookies for the neighbors. "I'm going to save Christmas once and for all," Annabelle whispered to herself after her parents left the room. Early the next morning, before her father woke up, Annabelle carried the tree into the front yard.
She planted the Christmas tree with all its decorations right in front of the house for everyone to see. She ran an extension cord from the garage to plug in the shining Christmas lights. "Snow will water you until it rains," Annabelle said to the Christmas tree, watching the neighbors gather round.
Are you kidding me?
Mr. Cunningham said, walking out the front door with his axe.
Put away the axe,
The neighbor said to Mr. Cunningham.
It's only the day after Christmas. The electric bill to light this tree is going to be enormous,
Mr. Cunningham said, slamming the door. It's going to be Christmas all year long, and that's the only way it's going to be, Annabelle said. Her father sighed, looked at her and the neighbors in utter disbelief, and went back inside the house. From then on, Annabelle decorated her evergreen as the seasons changed throughout the year. She hung glass hearts at Valentine's Day, 4-leaf clovers at St. Patrick's Day, Easter eggs at springtime, American flags at the 4th of July, jack-o'-lanterns at Halloween, and turkeys at Thanksgiving. Annabelle celebrated Christmas all year long, and so did her Scroogey father, even if he didn't like it.
This has been Pen Jen's Inkwell Podcast. I wrote and performed all the original stories in the podcast. This podcast is produced by Eric Baines, who scored all the stories and poems in the series to original and public domain music. The podcast is associated with my blog of the same name, Pen Jen's Inkwell, which can be found on my website, jenwaters.com.